you trying to get crazy with this thing? Don't you know I'm loco?
And my goal, and I've shared it with other people like in my high school district, I'm trying to build like the best print program in the nation. Like have it be like a model, like the standard for these type of like classrooms, like, right? So, and we had people from other high school districts visit, you know, to like check out, kind of experience it like firsthand, to hopefully then create that at their site, right? To have what we have at Orange Glen, but maybe in Chula Vista or San Diego or even like across the country, right?
What's happening, everybody? This is Bobby Ruiz, aka Bobby Tribal, and once again,
Lower Lift Podcast. I'm still on vacation mode. I'm on Hawaiian time. Aloha time.
Johnny Hula.
I just huli.
Yeah.
Johnny Aloha.
Yeah, Johnny Aloha.
Johnny Hula sounds, little.
Yeah.
I don't know, like swivel hips.
To tropical.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get caught up, but Johnny decided he needed to go to Hawaii.
Long overdue. It's supposed to be during COVID, and so it's been 2 years since that trip was planned, and finally got to take it.
How was it?
It was nice. Yeah, we took my parents, my girl, and the kids.
Nice.
And we stayed.
It looked beautiful.
We stayed right next to the Disney hotel because we can't afford that shit.
Yeah.
So, but it's close enough. We saw it from where we were.
Yeah, but it looked like you were your spot was right on the beach.
Yeah, there's 4 lagoons right there, and our resort our condo was on the lagoon, so it was nice. It's all public beaches, so we went and crashed it over there.
Nice. It was so where the hotel was a public beach.
Yeah.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, but there's no parking, so there's really nobody there except the people in the building.
So where'd you park?
So I got rid of my tan lines in the privacy of my own lagoon. So nice. But it was nice. It's good to be back though, because the weather there, like, it don't give up. It's like you're sweating all the time, and I do that here.
Yeah, I know,
but it's even worse over there. So
that's one. You guys that have listened to the show before know that that's my name for Johnny Sweats. Because
I got an active sweat gland.
Yeah.
Overactive.
He'd always show up all creased down, ready to go. Let's go. And he's sweating. Like, what are you doing, dog?
That's not sweat. That's my glow. That's my shine. That's my aura. That's me being awesome.
That's what it is. But we've been just hella busy. Like, I think we're back on track, kind of, right? We've got to.
Well, the show's coming to an end. So
yeah, Street Legacy is coming to. Oops, was that my phone? Street Legacy is coming to an end.
So that ended up being extended. What, a month?
Yeah, it got extended a month.
Yeah.
And I don't know when this one's gonna air, but this Saturday is the closing celebration.
October 2nd, right?
October 1st.
First, yeah.
This Saturday.
I'm still on Aloha time.
Yeah,
I'm on the other side of the the ocean.
Yeah,
part of the ocean, half of the ocean. But it's good to be back. And I'm excited about this show because I got some fellow Escondido people up in here.
Yeah. Johnny and I both live up in Escondido, but
rare event for Escondido.
Yeah. But today we got a couple guests. We've got Aled, who's I've known for I don't know. I met him like about a year ago, 2 years ago. How long ago?
I think about a year ago, like when I
don't know
his
last
Isaac,
name, so we just call him Aled.
Yeah,
what's your last
some
name?
of the same circles. Anaya.
Yeah, there you go.
Anaya.
And Sergio, who's been on the show before. Serge,
thank you for having me back.
And he's one of the tattooers here in the building. And the reason that we had him come in is because he was one of your students.
Yeah, back in 2012, 2013. Yeah, when I started teaching at Orange Glen.
I had the opportunity to visit the shop today. He is a teacher at Orange Glen High School in Escondido. And so I'll talk about this just a little bit. So when I was in high school, I took a lot of graphic arts and photography and television production, stuff like that. Those were the electives that I did in high school. If it wasn't for my graphic arts classes, I would have never started Tribal. I would have never, knew how to silk screen or do graphic design or know how to put graphics on anything. So it was a real integral part of my high school education in regards to that. So it was a really important class for me just because I learned not just about silk screening, but printing on paper. Your hair does look good, dude. I saw you do that. But printing on paper, printing on T-shirts. We'd print on anything, make stickers, do little magazines, whatever we were doing, photography, things like that. So it was really important class for me. And today, I had the opportunity this morning to visit your, man, I don't even want to call it a class, dude. It's insane, dude. It looks like a business. There was multiple silk screen. The place was immaculate. It was super clean, like really, really clean. It was air conditioned nicely. He had, I think, 2 or 3 silk screen presses. He had large format digital printers. He had top of the line like heat presses. He had then the place where the kids were actually working, they were all brand new Macs. Like, I don't know, how many were there?
So we have a computer lab of like 37.
And they're all not the iMacs, the old ones. These were the ones that have the color on them, the new ones. And then they have a full printing room, like to do paper items, to do books or pamphlets, or that they have all the cutting machines. And then besides that, it has he's really attached to the local art community. So he had pieces in there by Chicle, Serge, dude, Zane, Mr. B Baby.
Oh, MR Baby?
Yeah.
She's
yeah, like just he has a lot of really, really cool art in there. But super impressive. Like way impressive and they're waiting on their DTG machine.
Yeah, we got some new equipment as always, coming through.
But all the equipment that you had that you have is already like badass. And you guys are gonna be doing embroidery too?
Yeah, embroidery as well. Yeah, we just hired a new assistant who's got almost 10 years experience in embroidery. So
just hired the assistant because they could do them. Was that the dude who was in the?
Yeah, the dude was there. So he actually owns his own embroidery business, but he's again so stoked on the fact that this setup exists. He wants to be a part of that.
Dude, it looks like a straight business that could do everything. And they had a laser engraver.
Yeah, we got.
And these aren't like little shitty machines or like old machinery or equipment that you'd find in like old schools or something. They're just trying to get by with. This was like top of the line.
Yeah, top of the line production.
Real nice stuff. So let's take it back to how you found yourself in this position. Like what's your background in where'd you grow up and then schooling, and then how did you eventually find yourself as a teacher at Orange Glen High School in Escondido? Shout out to them. Johnny's an alumni from there.
Go Patriots.
Yeah.
Patriots. Yeah. I went there on accident.
Oh, you went there too? Yeah. On accident?
Yeah, I moved from San Marcos to Escondido my freshman year. So then, I'm glad I did go because I got to meet this guy.
Yeah. And he was inspirational for you too, right?
Oh, big time. Yeah. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
He's the one to put me on drawing, screen printing, painting, all of the above.
That's badass. So what
used to take him to art shows?
Yeah. Art shows.
Oh, yeah, that's what he said. He used to bring you down to Logan and bring you to different art shows and
I was just mind blown.
Show you what was up.
I was a kid, so I was like, "Oh, let's do it."
Still are a kid, bro. You were more of a kid, a young kid, right?
Moldable.
Yeah. So how did you get to Aled? How did you get to this position? Like, but what I do see is, I'm gonna back up a little bit. Orange Glen High School's in Escondido. Escondido has nicer neighborhoods, and then it has not so nice neighborhoods, and then it has ghetto ass neighborhoods. Like it's very, right. It goes from like real, super nice homes and neighborhoods to, you don't want to walk around there at night. You get kids from all of these areas.
Yeah, from all the areas. Orange Glen, historically, even at one point, I know it's been known as like the Brown School. in Escondido, and the demographic of that school. Last time I checked, it's in like the high 80s, like almost 90% Hispanic, Latino.
Yeah.
So it's
almost what 90?
Yeah, almost 90%.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the population
because it faces a nice area.
Yeah, it does. Everything south of it is.
But then if you go to the back of the school, that's where it changes.
Yeah,
it kind of goes that way, and then But yeah. So it's 90% Latino.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, go on.
Yeah.
So how did you? What's your background? How did you?
So my background, and I love that you shared your story about how you had that graphic arts class. So because I think, I have a lot in common with that story.
Yeah.
So first, I was born and raised in Escondido, California. First person in my family to be born in this country. My parents and my brother migrated from Mexico and Escondido.
Where?
My father's from Ciudad Obregón, Sonora.
Uh-huh.
And my mom grew up in border town, Mexicali.
Oh, nice.
California.
Hot as hell, dog.
Yeah, hot. Yeah. Yeah, we only go there for the Chinese food.
That's right. That's right,
Yeah.
dude. I read an article the other day because we've had this conversation, I think, on this podcast before about Mexicali, that they're a group of Chinese, a big body of Chinese people, or a big population of Chinese people, were basically forced around Mexico because nobody wanted them
they
in
built
the
the railroad here in the U.S. and then got kicked to Mexico, and then Mexico said, nah, we don't want you here. So they ended up in
hot ass Mexicali.
Yeah.
But they built some underground communities, like literally underground.
Yeah.
Like they would dig holes underground, like not holes. They would, because it's so hot there. And back then there's no AC, and they were looking for ways to cool off. So they would build underground, I don't know what you'd call, like just underground rooms underneath the dirt, like chapel type shit.
Yeah, since it's cooler than like being above ground, right? Yeah. So instead of seeing like a taco shop on every corner, you got like Chinese food spots on every corner. Yeah.
That's when we used to go out there. I was like, I would trip out because it was like, no, vamos a ir a comer comida china. I'm like, what? And a lot of Chinese.
Yeah, so
people.
to this day, still a huge.
And you see
Chinese
a lot of mixture.
You
see a lot of Chinese Mexican and people that are half Chinese and half Mexican, or Chinese people that speak perfect Spanish. It's a trip. Yeah. So your mom's from Mexicali?
I'm from Mexicali. My dad's from Ciudad Obregón, Sonora, and then the rest of my family is like all scattered around Mexico. But that's where they're from. And then them and my brother, they ended up in Escondido, California. That's where I grew up. I lived there most of my life, still live there today. But my story at Orange Glen, it starts, as a 16-year-old high school student. I actually didn't graduate from Orange Glen High School. I graduated from Escondido High School. But at the time, my junior year in high school, I was behind credit, not the most like academically like motivated student, in high school. And, I was looking for a way to like make up, credits, from classes that I failed. I was looking for like elective credit. The student, one of my classmates, he's like, hey man, there's like this screen printing class, like at Orange Glen High School, you can print t-shirts. And I was like, well, like sounds cool, like get credits for it. Like, yeah, like, so yeah, I just hit up my counselor at the time, and she was like real supportive of me taking like an after school class there. And that was the first time I was ever like exposed to like printing, like Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator. And I had close friends of mine at the time who also took the class with me. So we kind of just fell in love with the class. At the time we were always like really like drawn to like skateboarding and like the artwork that was like on these like skate apparel, like, brands, and we're into graffiti, at the time as well. So like, this was like, man, like you can like create art, print it on shirts. Like,
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It was the most amazing thing.
You could make a living off of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was very empowering, I think, like as a student. I mean, this was my junior year and I ended up taking it like senior year as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like being involved in the creative process like that. And I think, me and Sergio as well, and a lot of the students that excel in my class, they're just like more drawn to this like hands-on learning environment, right? Like get your hands into it, right? Get printing, like draw your designs and then put them on the computer. I think that was like the perfect classroom for me to like excel. And, I'm trying to empower these students by being involved in that process. and get them excited about being in school. And sometimes it's this type of class that motivates the students, right? And that was, in my case, that was it, right? I came to school basically just to be in that class, right? And I know for Sergio, like, this guy was like a prodigy from like, I mean, ever since I met him, right? He was just like an amazing artist. And for him, like, our class was a space where it's like he could go there, create his art, like from start to finish, right? And if he needed to print something, he'd print it. But it was just like he knew like it was a comfortable space to create his work. So yeah, I mean, that's how I ended up there.
How I mean, going back, just what you do is, you know, you're more involved in the community than most teachers are.
Right.
Probably 99% of the teachers out there. You've been here in the building, and the guys that work here today. I finally made it to the shop, but I had heard.
Yeah, thank you for stopping by. I know
you're welcome.
Busy.
You're welcome, and the guys, Isaac, my son, Herman, Sergio, like everybody talks about. Yeah, it's got a badass shop. And I was like, how badass can it be? Like, but inspiring kids and getting out in the community and. You did a lot of help with Street Legacy. You know, you popped in, you had the opportunity or blessing or, man, I don't know what you
somebody dropped my name and invited me. And I don't know if it was you, but like,
yeah, it was, and you were out there with Kenny Scharf. Like you were helping him for a while and assisting him with, and that's like, who gets to do that? And then, you know, you came in and helped wherever you could. You brought the students, you know, a bunch of students to the show. And you're out there intentionally trying to motivate kids and stimulate kids to pursue higher education and to have an appreciation for the arts, which is a beautiful thing, you know. So thank you for that, first of all. And that's one of the reasons why you're here today, is because I feel strongly about people like yourself that have the motivation or the time and the energy and the desire to bring up not just, you know, kids in the community, which is a great thing in itself, but Chicano kids, Latino kids, kids that maybe not are from the best families or neighborhoods or what have you, and having people like yourself that give a shit about them, you know?
Right.
And that was really important for a lot of us. I know when I was in high school, I had good parents and a decent upbringing, but still, I had a lot of distractions. I was distracted just like most kids with all kinds of things that are coming at you from all angles, social things and on, you know, all the bullshit that we go through as high school kids. But yeah, there were some teachers that believed in me and saw something and pushed me a little bit or exposed me to different types of art, or they saw some things that I was doing and they push you. And those are and that happened again at a junior college level for me too. When you get to college, there's a couple professors that'll kind of latch onto you, or
they see
something in you and they push you. And I had a couple of those in the junior college. I can't really say I found any at the 4-year, but that's very important, man. It's really, really important that the kid doesn't go to school, take these classes and think like, no one gives a shit anyways. Nobody cares. Like, or to see a kid walk into a class and it's obvious that they're going through some shit, and be able to help that kid maybe have a better day or see some positivity in what's around them. But that in itself is commendable. And I know it could probably be challenging and may affect your personal life a little bit, because you might find yourself worried about some of these kids, or, you know, really, you know, being concerned about their well-being.
Right.
Does that become an issue sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, it does. You know, we're working with high school students, and, you know, it's like a real
they know everything.
Yeah. They know everything. They're, you know, like pre-adults. So, it does become challenging. And, I mean, as teachers, we're there to support the students.
It's also got to be rewarding, though, right?
Oh yeah, tremendously, man. And with the story of, you know, us kind of being in those same shoes of like being the student in the class. You know, I was a student in the classroom that I now teach. Sergio was in that class.
Not as nice though.
Yeah, it is nice. So a lot of times you see yourself like, you're like, man, I was that kid. You know, you put yourself in their shoes and like, yeah, I kind of relate to what you're going through, and with the kids that connect to me and to the class, like, yeah, again.
And you always need that external influence, because your family can be supportive and be there for you, but until you hear from somebody else, then you listen to that person, even though your family's been telling you forever that you're talented, all that. But you start hearing it from other people, then you get even more you know, inspired.
And then with some of these kids, I mean, you notice like the talent, you notice like their passion for like art and design, and maybe nobody else around them is telling them that, like, hey man, you got something, like I see something, you could like take it to the next level. And you tell the student that, and then you sometimes put them in the spotlight, right? Share that with the classroom, like, hey man, like look at this, like put their artwork up, you know, or, you know, we have like an art show every year where we showcase like student work. So yeah, that's a big deal for a lot of these students.
I think it's important also, like the other thing that I know that you're into is you stay active in the community. Not like I was saying earlier, but you go to art shows, you know, the local artists, the artists are willing, you know, you have some really dope artists, local artists on your walls there. And that's not because they just dropped in. It's because obviously you have a relationship with them, and these artists know you and they know who you are, what you're doing, and, have an appreciation for that, and are willing to, you know, help with the cause, if you will, or with the program.
Yeah, and a lot of these artists that I invited, they're artists I've met through I'm the San Diego art community. You know, we all know each other. But they've kind of, you know, seen the program grow. I've invited them to check out the space, and, you know, they see like, oh wow, like,
they,
you know,
they have that reaction like I did walking
this
in
is
the
legit,
door today,
you know, I try to tell them like, yeah, sometimes you may not realize like the impact you have on these students by, you know, sharing your story, sharing your work. And I've been following, Persuade for the longest time. But you know, and I've met him several times, and most recently, actually we did like, we both painted a piece at a skate park recently, Landmore Skate Park in Chula Vista. Like Persuade, and then mine's like around the corner. But, I got a chance to talk to him at a tournament we had, that happened at that skate park. And I was telling him, you know, we're like, I don't know, 20, 30 years apart, me and Persuade. I was telling him, I was like, yeah, man, when I was in middle school, like we had a career day, and you showed up to present, and you shared your artwork, you shared like what you do for a living, you know, your graffiti, all that. And I was like, that still stays with me, like the stuff that you shared. And I think with a lot of other people that were like my classmates at the time, like there's like at least like 3 other heads who like in Escondido who were part of that, him like doing career day, who like tattoo, like they're really good. Like Slow was there, Rays.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
You know, and I know like him being like part of that career day and sharing his work, that kind of like sparks something, right?
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference.
Especially somebody like Persuade who you know, started doing graffiti on the streets, and then went into the skateboard business, like working with skate companies, and then later with Osiris, and one of the founding members of that whole DC crew. And then streetwear, and just becoming a world renowned artist, and now he does shows with wet paint all over the world. So you're right.
Yeah. Man, and that was like almost 20 years ago, like me in middle school, you know, like yeah. Shout
out Persuade, man. That's pretty cool. So what type of you said there's kids in there that kind of stand out, like protege kids, and what have you seen happen to some of the kids that have been in your program? You said some of them start their own businesses, or you know, become, you know, successful tattooers like Sergio here. And
thank you, Lynn.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But what have you seen, and how long have you been there? How long have you been teaching there?
So I've been teaching there. So 10 years ago I started teaching part time. Prior to that I was an assistant in the classroom, and then I worked in printing for 3 to 4 years prior to that. But yeah, it's my 10th year teaching at Orange Glen High School. So yeah, I've seen a lot of talent, and I think I was sharing with you earlier, Bobby, when you came to visit, like the biggest skill or like the most exciting thing is when I see students like take some type of step into like like starting their own business, right? Doing something like entrepreneurial, whether it's like a kid like starting their own brand for the first time, or a kid, you know, with some type of like business idea where they just like create a product and sell it, just to get that experience, you know, even if it fails, like it's just such a valuable experience, like being able to like create a product and doing some type of like advertising, customer service, like figuring out like what their pricing is gonna be, you know, what their markup, how they're gonna sell it, all that stuff. Like it's
a business,
super,
a business standpoint. What was Orange Glen like when you were there, Johnny?
It was like, have you seen Lean on Me? No, it wasn't that bad. It was cool. It was a good. Back then, there was a good mixture of different kinds of people. It doesn't sound like it sounds a little different now, but it was an old school.
What do you mean different kinds?
Like, you know, he said it's 90%.
Oh, there was more mixed
more
race.
tanned people.
Yeah,
there was less.
More diverse.
Yeah, it was more diverse. You know, and as well as we had people from Valley Center, including the Indian reservations there, because there was no high school up there at that time. But it needed work. Like, it was the original school. I think it was built like in 69 or 70 or something like that.
Yeah, late 60s.
Yeah. So, you know, I actually went to the print shop prior to back in the late 90s when I was there, and it was mechanical, you know, type printers, really handmade, old school ways. Yeah, metal plates.
Like the ones that go like that?
We'd
Offset
get them,
presses.
Yeah, we get them etched, the steel plates, put it on the printer, and print out, you know, business cards or T-shirts, whatever.
What kind of business cards were you
little
doing?
Tiny.
Ones with little Playboy bunnies on them. Stuff like that.
But, you know, as mentioned, like, it's really, you know, my teachers back then, I still remember them because they had a little bit of influence on me, you know, and plus the class is something outside of academics versus, you know, outside of like math or history, you know, where it's important to know that stuff, but not everyone's going to be attached to that for, you know, life skills later down the road. And to know there's other avenues that are more on the creative side, especially now with the internet, you know, and the possibilities are there for them to grasp. They just need, you know, the means, which I'm glad that the shop has. Now I know where my property tax keep going up.
Yeah, dude, paying for all that equipment.
You're not. I mean, so here's the way I looked at it, and I'm trying to figure out when I was in there. I'm like what you said, like, where's all this money coming from? Like, this is a lot of it's high quality equipment. You know, it's very technical. It's a beautiful shop, like really, really impressive shop. State of the art equipment. But what I understood, the more I thought about it, is it's smart for the school district after I found out what they did with this equipment and how they utilize this equipment, is the school district is keeping this sort of production of things that they need in regards to paper products, pamphlets, booklets, books, T-shirts, you know, whatever it is they need, they're keeping it in house.
So they don't outsource it.
Yeah, so they don't
use child labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call it internship or work experience.
Work experience.
Okay,
but that's the smart thing. Like, but you're right. These kids are being educated, learning how to do this. And it's like a company keeping it in house and being able to fulfill those needs internally I made an example, like, what if, cause obviously Orange Glen, it's just within the Escondido school district. So let's say San Pasqual High School track team needs T-shirts for a meet they're going to do, you know, wherever, in LA or wherever. And they want shirts. They need, you know, 40 shirts or whatever. So instead of trying to find a silkscreen company out there somewhere to do it, they make it.
Yeah.
So they're doing it not just for themselves, but for the whole district. So if you know, the kindergarten at Juniper needs something, do those kind of jobs come to you, like from all over the district?
Yeah. So a lot of schools like within the Escondido area, and then nonprofits, like local nonprofits, they send their print jobs to us.
So I noticed, and this is another thing just popped in my head. So when I went there today, there were 15-minute parking in front. So you'll get teachers from other parts of the district that show up there at the print shop
to pick up a print job,
or deliver a print job or discuss a job. So it's instead of being just a, print shop in the school, it's like a business.
Yeah. So it's a business
within the high school.
Yeah. So I'm in charge of running the classroom, like the printing and graphics classroom. And through my classroom and the student run print shop, we do the screen printing jobs and some wide format stuff like stickers.
So they could do banners.
Yeah. And then separate from that is the district print shop, which is like the room in the back that I showed you. So yeah, they do all the pamphlets and banners and books. Yeah.
What I was saying, and I don't know if you guys did this, was besides being, knowing obviously how to print a shirt or print a booklet or a pamphlet or make stickers or whatever, that these students could have the opportunity to learn something that I didn't learn in that class, is how to treat a purchase order, how to actually process the order, how to place the order for the materials needed, if it's blank shirts or sweatshirts or paper or what have you, to actually take the order from A to B and then deliver it and then do the money part of it. So that, I think, is a second.
Yeah, the business and finance part of it. Yeah. And that's something that we do want to include, in the curriculum. And we try to maintain those like industry partners, right? Industry advisors. Every year we meet with like local print industry advisors. Last year, I know Isaac and Herman joined us and gave some input as to like where the industry was going. Mm-hmm. We have some other partners, Squeegee Prints over in Chula Vista. Mm-hmm. They've been helping us out. Green Guard Apparel, who does like embroidery. So yeah, we try to like stay connected to that print community, so that they can like basically like be our consultants for like the next move.
Yeah.
To keep the shop relevant, make sure we have like industry standard equipment. And my goal, and I've shared it with other people like in my high school district, I'm trying to build like the best print program in the nation. Like have it be like a model, like the standard for these type of like classrooms, like, right? So, and we had people from other high school districts, visit, to like check out, kind of experience it like firsthand, to hopefully then create that at their site, right? To have what we have at Orange Glen, but maybe in Chula Vista or San Diego or even like across the country.
So is this a project? Like, is this something that hasn't been done before? Is it?
Yeah. So to my knowledge, like there isn't another program.
I mean, is like this concept kind of a newer concept? In the way that I'm looking at it now from a like an institution standpoint or a business standpoint, is basically it's just a way of keeping everything internal, and you're killing two birds by educating the kids and teaching them how to do these things, and not have to outsource it. And it's just seems like a cool concept. It's kind of like,
yeah, it is a fairly new concept. And that's one of the things that one of the high school districts that came recently to tour the classroom, they noticed. They're like, whoa, well, like, that makes perfect sense. Like having your district print shop next to your print classroom, and then keep it all in the same facility. And then your students have access to that printing equipment. Students can like learn how to run the print jobs and serve all the different sites, or,
but they also take on
businesses and
on jobs for nonprofits.
Yeah.
So how does that work? And how is that something you guys actively are out trying to find is nonprofit jobs, or do they just do you pick and choose which ones you work with?
It's kind of like through word of mouth at this point. I mean, we are limited because, it seems like a business, but, we are limited. We're also training the students to like operate and run these jobs. So it's still a classroom, but, we do bring in some jobs, from local nonprofits, and then the money generated from that goes back to the students so that,
to buy even more badass equipment.
Yeah, to buy more badass equipment.
Just as hard as hell.
Blank t-shirts, pay for any expenses, on field trips, like, visiting the tribal warehouse or.
Did that, so you guys do that? You go, and then I know you bring the kids. One time he brought, I don't know how many
30.
kids.
Like drew about 30 kids, yeah.
Yeah, here to visit Serge, and then you took them to like Por Vida, you took them to Chicano Park.
Yeah, we went to Chicano Park and got a good tour from, I forget what his name. He's like a Chicano studies professor. He gave us the whole tour of the murals.
Ochoa?
Nah, it was
Pulido?
I think it was Pulido, yeah. Yeah, and then like we went to Salud, and that was paid for by the money we generated.
Yeah, nice. That's cool.
From the print jobs, and then we came here. Then on another trip, we went to and we checked out Milo's spot at Imperial Avenue Collab.
Yeah. That's cool. What was your experience like there, dude? Like when you were there, what year was that in
2012. I graduated 2013.
And he was already teaching there?
That was his first year, so I got lucky.
I was teaching part-time.
I got lucky. No, you were after school program, right?
Yeah.
So I did the after school program, and that's how I met him, and he encouraged me. But like you said, it was like lean on me. Like that scene, there was no like big buildings. It was all super low key. When I moved in to Orange Glen, I thought it was like a middle school because it was so small. I was like, this is not a high school. I was supposed to go to Mission Hills, that big ass school in San Marcos. So I was looking forward to that. That was gonna be fun. So I went to OG. I got into ROTC, that like Navy cadet class.
Shit.
Yeah,
I want to see a picture.
That's all you get. So I got that. I got in late, so they put me in that classroom, and I wanted to be in art because I love to draw. I got stuck in there for like a year and a half.
In ROTC?
Yeah, that shit was hell.
Was it?
Fuck yeah.
Did you take anything out of it? Like, did you learn anything?
How'd I say yes, sir?
Yeah.
No, just to be more proper.
Yeah. Etiquette,
yeah.
You're disciplined with your art, man. Since I met you, you're like...
Thank you. I tried to be. Maybe that's what they taught me.
Yeah.
But my sophomore year, my English teacher noticed that I could draw. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, just drawing. I love to do it. She's like, go to art class. I was like, I can't. They don't let me go in there because it's packed. So that same day, she took me to my counselor. She switched me over from ROTC to art class.
There you go.
So shout out to her. I forgot her name. 3 years in art class, and then I met this guy my senior year. But I wasn't looking forward to anything in high school. There was nothing to look forward to besides drawing, and I would do a lot of body art too. So I would just draw on females.
Yeah, you'd see my other students with like just like a pen,
full sleeve,
full sleeve, like
in school.
Yeah.
And their mom would see them when they get home, and yeah.
So I was just into tattooing, skateboarding, and all that, and I always wanted to start my own like t-shirt brand, like cliche, everyone wants to do it. And I found out we had a print shop. I was like, oh no way! So I got into that my junior year, and then my senior year. I didn't take it too serious because I just love drawing, like the physical part about it, pen on paper. So I wasn't really too concerned with the whole computer style and like printing stuff until he came around and he's like, hey man, you can put this on t-shirts. So he's the one that motivated me. So I was like, all right, let's do this thing. And he pushed me. And
what was your first t-shirt design?
Do you
still have it?
I have a picture of it. Right. It's a sugar skull. Super cliche. Like just a little
This was back then, before, everyone had access to, everyone else's art, really.
So it was, just a sugar skull. And people were buying them, but after a while, I was like, man, I need to come up with something original and like brand new. So I just gave up on the whole idea of like trying to start a clothing brand. I just gave up.
So from there you transitioned into tattooing?
I just kept drawing, and he was the one that
I introduced you to a few tattoo art. Yeah,
he did. Yeah. Scotty, shout out to Scotty. I apprenticed under him too.
Oh, that's the dude you were telling me today that painted in your spot.
Yeah, he's got a piece in there.
A lot of those cats that are in that classroom, I know all of them. So it's cool. So high school, I'm still in high school at this point. I'm low on credit, so I think I'm doing an after school program, and I meet this guy. I was like, oh fuck yeah! And he's almost like, hey, you get down, do this, and he would always point me in the right direction. So I just followed him. I was like, this is an older guy. He's paying attention to me. So honestly, the attention that he gave me was a spark.
You guys look about the same age, though.
Really?
Yeah. What kind of lotion do you use?
I hang out with high school students, man. That's what keeps me young. Yeah.
So then he started taking me to the actual print shop in Vista. And that's when I started working for...
Yeah, because I worked like I was like a part-time teacher, and then I also worked like full-time at like a screen printing shop at the time. I was like doing both. So I was like, hey man, like after class, like I'll take you to like my work, and I'll introduce you to like more artists and like, like professional like screen printing like setup. And
that was like worlds away. I was like, oh shit, all right, let's do it. I showed up and everyone was just hanging out, drawing. We would have art nights. We would print t-shirts, and I would work for free, honestly, just to get the experience. But Man, that whole little clique, that crew of us drawing and painting every night, just hanging out, fucking really lit a fire under me.
What's a trip is while these things are happening in your life, and anybody's life, mine included, like while I was going through graphic arts, or while I was printing these things in high school, or while you were working at going to do art night and going to the things you guys experienced, you have no idea at that time how much those things will affect your life, like how influential those will be in your direction. Once you find something that you're passionate about, then, or that you, that you enjoy doing, how it affects your life or your career or what have you. That's cool, man.
Yeah. They become, defining moments.
And then the student and teacher became friends, and you guys just have, and does that happen a lot?
Nah, it doesn't happen that. I mean, now there's like a bigger age gap. At the time, I think I was like 22 and he was like, I don't know, 17, 18. So it was like, yeah, now like the age gap is
that's
like,
only 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, back then it was different because
they are like 4 years. That's nothing. Yeah. I thought like you guys meant there was like a big age gap.
No, I started teaching at 21. Yeah. 21,
and that's what would trip me out too. I was like, if he's doing it at 21, I could do. I didn't want to teach, but I wanted to do something with art. Mm-hmm. And he kills it with the drawings. I don't know if you've ever seen his artwork. Mm-mm. He's the one that pushed me. I was like, oh shit! If he's paying attention to my artwork, then
at the time when I met him, I was doing like a lot of like nothing but like just super realistic like portraits, like charcoal, color pencil, just like nothing but like portraits, stylizing them a little bit. Yeah, and I think that's what like he was looking at.
So now maybe you should teach him how to tattoo.
I've told him. He's like, nah, that's not me. You thought about it, right?
I think about it all the time. There's too many people around me that do tattoos.
But what's a trip is we had this conversation today as I'm watching all these kids and we're standing behind them and we can see all their computer screens and you see the different kids, and obviously there's options that people or paths that they'll take coming out of these art classes, these graphic design, whatever classes, art classes. You're going to be a graphic designer, or you're going to be an architect, or you're going to be a photographer, videographer, you're going to be a painter. But in schools, they still don't say, oh, you're going to be a tattooer. I wonder at what point that's going to become a reality, because that's a career that can be extremely lucrative. Like you can make good money as a tattooer. And chances are there may be as many professional tattooers nowadays as there are graphic designers. Maybe.
But look at the work. There's been so many artists for a lot of years, and like there's only like a handful that are good. But that's with every industry too, it gets saturated.
But that's the same thing with the graphic designer.
That's why I gave up on
or anything. It's like,
competitive. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, at what point I wonder how the high schools are going to react, like teaching kids or not necessarily teaching them how to go into, that type of
it's a cultural thing. I mean, I think if enough people begin to accept it and get hip to the idea,
it's going to happen.
The makeup of administration, the makeup of teachers.
Yeah, I know this year, there was a female student of mine, and she was, I saw she was like writing something down, and it said like tattoo artist, and I was like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, it's for my, I don't know if it was like an English class or I don't know, college and career or something. And she's like, yeah, we all picked a job in my classroom I want to be when like we get older, and we have to research like what the requirements are for that job and what skills are needed, and what you need to like get into that job. And it was like for a tattoo artist. I was like, oh, like that's different. Like that's cool. Like I wonder what the teacher thinks about it. Like, yeah, that's cool.
That's what I mean. Like depending on who the teacher is.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between tattooing and like screen printing. It has to be like handed down to you from someone that's already tattooing. You're not going to go to an actual school and learn it, unless it's a tattoo artist that's running it, but that's looked down upon.
The industry's changing so much, and a lot of things that were looked down upon for years, within the past 5 years, 10 years,
look at the, Street Legacy show at the Center for the Arts, the artwork in my classroom. I mean, that wouldn't have been possible. 10 years ago even.
Just change and evolve, so you never know. There's people out there that do and you see it, you know, there's very credible artists that are offering instructions.
Seminars. Those are cool.
Seminars,
those are cool.
instructions,
those are dope.
or how to do, you know, portraits, or how to do letters, or how to, you know, use a certain type of equipment. So it could potentially happen that it's taught in the schools at some point.
That would be a trip. That would be
Life's
crazy.
a trip, dog.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
Give it 5 years,
it was like, it's a trip that, even like you were saying, the street legacy happened in an actual museum to see some of the stuff that was there. But it's always evolving and changing. So where do you see yourself going from here? Like, what do you want to do next? Do you want to teach like for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years? Or would you rather, what are you thinking?
So I love teaching. I love being in that classroom, building up the space.
I love being in that classroom every day too.
It's a
classroom that look like that.
It's a creative playground, you know? We got all the equipment. It just feels like a real creative space, right?
There's not a lot of stress in there. The stress would come from like just the teaching part, but the business part isn't stressful because you know you're going to get paid and the jobs are there. The machines are paid for and the rent's like free.
I'm sure the kids are paying.
You're working with teenagers. They're full of energy. So, sometimes.
And like Johnny said, they know it all.
Sometimes it's hard. They know it all. But, they're just full of energy, you know? Yeah. Like, I'd rather be with, like, a room full of teenagers than a room full of adults. Yeah. Because they're just, they're just real resilient. They got all this energy, man. Like Sergio said, man, the young people, they're on fire, you know? Like, they're just like, let's go, you know? So, I love working in that space, but, I for sure plan on teaching for the next like 5 to like 10 years. And again, try to build up that program to where it is like a model for like other schools to like create the same thing. Right. And that comes with like, you know, filling it with like the most like industry relevant, like equipment, like modernize it. You've seen it, you know, we're trying to like put enough money into it to where it's like top of the line, and then building partnerships with like community members, right? So people like you, Bobby, like local artists, like I bring in these like local artists, muralists to add to the space and also share their work with the kids, let them know that, you know, a career in the arts, in graphics and printing, it is possible, you know, it does take work, but like there's example of people doing this like professionally and being successful at it. And inspiring the kids. So like maintaining those relationships. I always tell people I want to be like in Escondido one day and like overhear like a conversation that maybe like some parents are having or saying like, hey, like, did you hear Orange Glen has this like cool program? Like my kid's creative. Like maybe that's the right fit for him. Like I want to hear that. I want to hear like people in the community saying like, oh, hey, like I know Orange Glen has like this really awesome program. Like your kid's like into drawing, like that's where he should go.
I think there's probably people already saying that.
Yeah.
I bet you that those conversations are already happening from parents that go into that building or see what their kids are either learning or how motivated they are or how excited they are to go to that class. Dude, if my classroom looked like that and when I was in high school, come on, man.
We had the MacBooks, the big ones, and I was excited to go to that class. Dude, but we had the old school squeegees. We had to do the whole physical thing.
Yeah, they have one of those.
Screen prints.
But that's important too. That's like really learning how to get down. But now the conversation we were having this morning is technology's changing.
Oh, big time.
Because from now silk screening, you have the other option. You have the DTG option, which is direct to garment, which is digital printing. And then there's another option now that is direct to film, which is you're printing on film. It's a brand new technology. I mean, not brand new, but it's just really, and it's more cost effective than DTG or silk screening for the most part. And, it's a new type of machinery that's applied with the heat press, and the amount of detail and clarity you could get in colors, you know, a crazy amount of colors. Yeah. Ridiculous amount of colors. So as technology changes, the shop's going to change and it'll keep evolving on and on.
And the iPad too. You could vectorize everything. It's right there in front of you. You don't need a big MacBook anymore.
You could vector on an iPad?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Use Illustrator on
everything.
iPad? Well, I didn't know you could run Illustrator. You can.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. There's Illustrator on the iPad.
Wow. So, you got any other questions, Johnny?
No, thank you for, trying to inspire the youth. Not trying, but actually inspiring the youth. And I was just kidding about the property tax thing.
Oh, no, you're good, man.
It's good to see a return on investment because ultimately we're reinvesting into the community to make it a better place for everybody. And I'm glad that it's going to a school like Orange Glen versus, one of the more financially able, communities in other parts of the county.
But you know what? I'm going to say this. No, you're right about the property taxes. Because when you do a room addition or you add to your property, you have to pay a tax, and they tell you this tax goes to the schools, the local school districts, and then you see the money. So
it'll say schools like at the bottom.
Yeah, what you see is these programs that are happening like that. Maybe that is coming from a degree of people building ADUs or people paying more property tax. And it's good to see that. It's good to see that your tax money is actually being spent in the schools. Like if the school was all run down and shitty looking and there were no programs, we'd be like, well, where's all that money going?
Yeah, you wouldn't want that.
There it is.
And the money's going to be spent elsewhere, like on police or prison and all the other stuff that, money needs to be spent on. I'd rather spend it up front to invest in children so they can, like I said, be productive in society and make a difference, whether it's through tattooing or, being whatever. We need people like you. And
he nailed it. Like we need people like you and we appreciate you and acknowledge what you do and keep doing it. And hopefully there's a lot more people that are as passionate as you are about not just educating people, which there's a lot of real passionate and great, amazing teachers out there. And we've all had them. But in the art community and being active in the art community and getting kids and students excited about local activities within, not just art, but art and culture. So that's a great thing that you're doing.
And you're hands on. Like if he wants to show you how to do a piece, you'd be like, here, let me draw on this real quick. I think we were at the art night the other day. He was like, can I get down on this? I was like, yeah, I trust you, dog. Come on, do it.
Yeah.
Because he has that eye. Mm-hmm. So if he sees something wrong with my piece, he's going to correct it or lead me in the right way. Mm-hmm. Other teachers that I've had, they're like, one of my art teachers, he was really like hands-on. He wasn't hands-on with me, but he would tell me a lot. And I was like, so where do I fix it? But he wouldn't tell me, He's like, just do it. So.
Yeah, trying to be like a coach, like for like the artwork too. I mean, because like these are students that are learning and with me, I think that's come a little natural because I've always done some type of like art form.
Yeah.
And you said like, what do I want to do within the next 10 years? Like, yeah, I want to keep like teaching, but I'm constantly trying to like, in my, and whatever time I have available for like creating artwork, like I try to like do more of that too. And lately it's been like mural projects like over the past few summers or, some like digital work. So also trying to like, fulfill myself too, like as an artist, right?
Yeah.
Which I mean that's what got me into it, like in the first place, and that's what stayed me like within the art community, right? Like,
well, you're there, man. Like being able to do projects with people like Serge and Persuade, and helping us with that Street Legacy, and then also the working with Kenny Scharf, like that's a straight legend, and a icon in pop art or graffiti art or just street art. It is what it is. So that's a blessing there. So if people want to check you out, what's your IG
so my IG is Led the Wonder Bread. I led the Wonder Bread.
All right.
Yeah, you heard it.
Wait, real quick. I'd ask some dude because at first I couldn't remember his name because he's got a real unique name. Like,
yeah. A-lead, that's how you spell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a piece of lead.
But not L-E-A-D. Lead is L-E-A-D, right? Lead.
Yeah, A-L-E-D.
Yeah. Okay, so how'd you get that?
How to get the name?
Yeah, you told me before, but...
Yeah, so my mom's name is Alma and my dad's name is Eduardo. So you get the first two letters of the names and it's like lead.
There you go.
I'm just video. Bobby.
It's a combination.
So that's how you can remember. So ALED, the Wonder Bread.
Yeah, I led the Wonder Bread. And then my classroom has an IG as well. It's at OGHS PG.
And I keep up with their stuff, and they're always bringing out a lot of fire.
Yeah, we try to highlight some of the student work, some of the projects that we're doing.
That profile in so I can check it out.
Yeah, those kids are on it.
Yeah. But I'll go back, man. I didn't know what to expect, and I was a little, because I haven't been back to high school in a while, so I didn't know what to expect, and it was a very maintained, very it was quiet, like the school in general. Even when I was in Franklin, I told the lady at the receptionist, like, man, it's quiet in here. She goes, well, don't let that fool you. And then I hung out there for a while, and then when I went to your class, same thing. Everybody was real chill. The kids were all well behaved, working, doing their thing. And
I told him Bobby Tribal was coming. So yeah, I'm just kidding.
Nothing like that. But what about you, Serge? What you got? Your IG and you got anything else you want to say?
Ser de Leon SER_DE_EON. That's my Instagram for any tattoos. We're trying to do an art night like we had at the California the Center of the Arts, and we always talk about it. So hopefully, if anyone's listening, we're gonna make it happen.
Can you do it there?
At the
do it here? We could do it here.
Yeah, we do it here at the Tribal Warehouse.
Right? Yeah, we
Tribal Warehouse. That would be dope.
We got enough people from Escondido. We could have it up north too.
We used to have all types of art nights, like all the homies.
Cadillac has letters.
I don't know. Inside joke.
Inside joke, right?
We're gonna leave
Caddy,
that
pull
one.
up.
We're gonna leave that one alone.
No, that's my main focus, because I feel like that's where we all strive. If we're all together and we're all pushing each other, we'll build off of each other. And that's how it was with him.
Yeah, that's what pushes. I mean, like, even like, you know, when we barely met and I started seeing some of his art and started getting better, it's like, oh damn, like I gotta keep pushing. You gotta keep going at it, you know.
Yeah,
you see
I mean,
friends.
don't wait for me. You guys set it up. Like, don't wait for me to be like, hey, you know, like,
of course.
You guys just tell me when, and then just, you know how it is here. You just clean up after yourselves and make sure everything's secure, and we can make it happen and do something cool.
Yeah.
You know.
Other than that, just thank you to Aled. A big inspiration in my life. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here. Honestly, he's the one that took me to Chicano Park, the print shop, had me meet all the tattoo homies, because he grew up with a bunch of tattoo artists. And I was like the younger generation, so I didn't really know any of them. So he's the one that introduced me. Yeah. And after that, I was like, all right, cool, I'm in here.
Yeah.
And man,
and imagine how many times he's done that, right? Yeah, dude. Well, thank you for being here, and thanks for everything you do.
Yeah, shout out to all the people that have helped me build that program at Orange Glen, you know, because it hasn't just been me.
Yeah.
You know, I've had amazing colleagues, coworkers, assistants. My assistant Carlos Felix, who now he's teaching full time at another high school, trying to build up a similar program. He's trying to print. He's trying to get students to print their own skateboard decks over there.
Nice.
So he's doing cool work. And then I think the guy you met earlier, Carlos Torrado, who runs the district print shop. So and then my new assistant Ed. We're trying to make that a one of a kind space. So yeah,
it already
it's coming together.
Dude. And then you're getting the embroidery machine and the DTG are on the way.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So
Tribal, they're coming after you.
I mean, honestly, this is the first time I walked into this warehouse, I was like, man, this is what we're trying to do. You know, place you walk in. You get inspired.
You have the ability to do so much in-house. It's like if you guys had your own brand or something out of there, you could really produce something. It's just you have all the equipment to do it, and the know-how. That's the thing, is finding the right text to make it happen. But what's up with you, Johnny?
Just glad I'm not sweating no more.
Made me sweat.
It's good. It's good to be here. And we appreciate you guys taking the time out to come talk with us. And yeah, looking forward.
All right, man. So there it is. I'm Bobby Tribal. We're right here at 17th and Island at the lower left. Thanks again for listening to the Lower Left podcast. And if you missed any, there's about 40 something of them online. So there's all kinds of them you could check out. We leave them up so you can have a listen to any of the previous Lower Left podcasts. Like I said, there's a bunch of them. There's some really, really good ones. Please check those out. And then I think you're supposed to like or share, do whatever you
comment,
can.
like, subscribe.
Yeah. There it is. Thanks again. Johnny, be good. Sergio De Leon, Aled, Lower Left Podcast, San Diego, California. We're out.